A recurring theme that I'm seeing with my client base, majority of which are sisters, Muslim sisters in the UK, Canada, and the States, is that oftentimes, sisters, you have value. You have attributes, skill sets, and characteristics that brothers place a high value on. Your problem isn't with value. You can add value to a man's life. Your issue, though, is not a value issue. It's a vetting issue. You don't have the right team around you, support system around you to help you vet if a man should be allowed in your life or not. If this is the right man for you. If this man has the vision, has the skill sets, the resources, the capability, the track record to be the provider, the protector, and the presider that you need. And that in theory, you need. Oftentimes, it's not the value aspect, it's the vetting aspect. And that's why I made this post that in 2023, make sure you have in your support system, within your team, a male coach or counselor or therapist. Someone in your team who's a male that can help you understand what men want, what men value, and most importantly, tell you the uncomfortable truths. So your girlfriends are gonna tell you you're 8 or 9, when really, Ma, you're 6. And that's fine. See, if you understand men, you'll understand that a man will choose a 6 that has certain attributes and characteristics and skill sets that have high value over an 8, 9, or 10 that lack these certain characteristics, mindset, these things that are of high value. But where I'm seeing a lot of you trip up and set yourself up for cycles of dysfunctional marriages is that in the initial stage, the team you have around you doesn't vet properly. You don't vet properly. And thus you allow yourself to be married to someone who isn't resourceful, who isn't capable. And then you find yourself divorced with a child. And let's just take reality for what it is. No judgment. We know the Muslim marriage market. If you are entering that market as a divorcee, it's challenging. Add a child into that, it's even more challenging. Which means that you need to make sure that your vetting as you re-enter the market is even more precise, even more meticulous. As does your value that you need to add to a man's life needs to be on point as well. It needs to be better. There needs to be lessons learned from the first marriage. But again, what I'm seeing, especially the past 2 weeks, is that it's a vetting issue. And because some of that healing work hasn't been done, when it's time to get married again, some of the lessons learned that should have been learned the first time resurface. You're tested again with some of the adversities from the first marriage. So in the first marriage, if there was financial insecurity, why is it that the second time, the third time, you're still choosing someone that doesn't provide financial security? And this is an important point, and I'll stop with this because it's late. Sisters, and your team, if you don't have somebody that can tell you those uncomfortable truths, then, like I said in the post, sis, all you got is a bunch of enablers around you. See, your girlfriends, that's expected. And that's a beautiful thing. That's just the nature of women. They have good intentions, but they're gonna lie to you. You're the 8 when you're the 6. You're the 9 when you're the 5. That's what women do. And no knock against that. That's a beautiful thing. Because they don't want you to feel hurt. They don't want you to feel that pain. But that's not what you need when it comes to assessing yourself for marriage, assessing your ability to add value to a man's life. To seeing if you qualify for the type of men that you say you want. So you need a man, a professional. I can't tell you how many sisters that I've worked with who, when it was time for marriage, their fathers, their brothers didn't have the lens of dean when they were looking at a man for marriage. And they gave the stamp of approval for a man that should have never gave a stamp of approval for. Or they had the lens of culture, so they just overlooked blatant characteristic issues that were problematic. And now when this sister is over, she's 32 and back in the marriage market, 35 back in the marriage market, or late 20s and having a difficulty time getting remarried and find herself 39 and still not married. Again, oftentimes it's a vetting issue. So what I would suggest to you, sisters, take an honest assessment of your team. Who's around you? Your girlfriends, your sisters, they mean well. But can they really tell you the uncomfortable truths? And I advise you to go back to this post that I made. It says, sisters, in 2023, make sure you have a male coach, counselor in your support system. As a lot of these Muslim influencers you're listening to are making adjustments to their standards, including being a second. In order to strike a deal with brothers for marriage, which some of them are telling you not to make, and shaming you for considering polygyny, shaming you for considering to making adjustments to your standards. If no one in your support system can tell you the uncomfortable truths, then you don't have a team around you. You have a group of enablers. In 2023, let's get better results. Look at what you've been doing the past year when it comes to trying to get married. What are the results? And this isn't about shame. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm not trying to put judgment on you at all. That's not my role. As a coach, I just look at what you say you want and look at the discrepancy between what you say you want and what you think, feel, say, and do. And what is that producing? Either you need to shift what you say you want, or you need to shift what you think, feel, say, and do. There needs to be an adjustment here because there's a discrepancy. You say you want this, but you're not thinking and feeling and acting in a manner that's in alignment with you getting this. So you want this type of man in your life for you or for your kids. But what is your mindset? What is your thinking like? What are your culinary skills like? What is your weight like? Are your girlfriends going to give you an honest assessment of all of these things? Again, we about to close out this year. Take an honest assessment. Do a check-in of what your team is like. No judgment on them, but take an honest assessment of what your team is like. And where do you need to make adjustments to the team?